Let me tell you something that changed my life. You don't get the future you want. You get the future you design. Most people just live life as it comes. They wake up, go to work, come home, eat dinner, and do it all again tomorrow. That's not designing your future. That's surviving your present. And let me tell you, there's a big difference between surviving and living. You see, life responds to plans, not hopes, not wishes, plans. When I was young, I used to hope that things would get better. I thought if I worked hard, the future would somehow sort itself out. But then a mentor told me something I never forgot. He said, "Jim, the future isn't something you step into, it's something you build." That's when it clicked. If I wanted a better future, I had to stop waiting and start designing. Design means you take control of your direction. Design means you decide what kind of person you want to be, what kind of life you want to live, and then start constructing it on purpose. Brick by brick, day by day. Now, I know it's tempting to think, but Jim, I've got bills to pay, responsibilities, a job, a family. How do I design a future when I'm stuck in the now? Great question. And here's the answer. Start small, but start. You don't need to design the next 10 years tonight. You just need to design tomorrow morning. You need to take an hour for yourself, pick up a book that feeds your mind, write down your goals, or make a call that could change your path. That's design. The key to the future is not in the future. It's in the decisions you're making right now. If you don't change today, your future is already written, and it looks exactly like your present. Now, designing your future takes discipline. It takes getting up earlier, saying no to some things, saying yes to the hard things. It means you stop blaming your circumstances and start owning your choices. Because if the future is going to change, you have to change. But here's the good news. You can. You can read new books. You can learn new skills. You can change your associations. You can shift your habits. You can renew your thinking. And if you can change just one habit, you've already started building a new future. Let me remind you, the same wind blows on us all. The difference isn't the wind, it's the set of your sail. It's your direction, your design. The real tragedy isn't failing. The real tragedy is never sitting down with yourself long enough to even design something worth failing for. So I'll leave you with this. Don't just live life, lead it. Don't drift design. You can build the future you want, but only if you start today, because the best way to predict your future is to design it. The future is not a mystery, it's a plan. This statement reshapes how we view tomorrow. It removes the fog of uncertainty and replaces it with clarity, with purpose. So many people wake up each day hoping things will somehow get better, hoping opportunity will knock, or that destiny will finally smile upon them. But the truth is that the future doesn't just happen. It unfolds according to the actions we take, the decisions we make, and the direction we choose today. Life doesn't hand out success by accident. It hands out results based on plans, discipline, and consistent effort. Most people are spectators in their own lives, waiting for a breakthrough that never arrives. They spend years drifting from one job to another, one habit to another, one excuse to another, without stopping to ask, where am I really going? What am I building? They hope circumstances will improve or that someone else will bring the answers. But life doesn't reward hope without effort. It rewards people who take time to plan, prepare, and execute. The future belongs to the person who decides where they want to go and then builds a path to get there. Without a plan, days turn into months, and months into years, and one day you wake up and realize you've arrived somewhere you never intended to be. That's what happens when you let life happen to you instead of designing it with intention. A plan is your personal blueprint for the future. Just as an architect wouldn't begin construction without drawings, you shouldn't start a day, a year, or a season of life without knowing what you want to accomplish. A plan provides clarity. It removes guesswork. It gives you a filter to measure every opportunity, every distraction, and every challenge. When you know your destination, it becomes easier to say no to what doesn't align. It's not about predicting every outcome, it's about preparing yourself for the ones that matter most. With a plan, setbacks become adjustments, not the end. Detours become part of the process, not failures. Because you're not wandering anymore, you're building something. People often think planning limits their freedom, but the truth is, planning expands your freedom. A well-crafted plan gives you the freedom to say yes to your purpose. It gives you the freedom to focus, to cut through the noise, and to stop reacting to life and start directing it. Without a plan, your future is surrendered to chance, to other people's agendas, to distractions that promise quick thrills but leave you empty. A plan protects your time, your energy, your values. It's your way of telling the world, I know what I'm here to do, and I'm going after it. Planning is not just about goals. It's about who you're becoming in the process. When you plan your future, you are deciding the kind of person you want to be, how you think, how you behave, how you show up. You begin to realize that every decision is shaping you. Every daily habit is a brick in the foundation of your future life. When you choose growth, when you choose to push past comfort, when you choose to invest in your skills, you are designing a version of the future that doesn't yet exist, but will, because you're creating it with intention. There's no mystery to success. There's no mystery to progress. It's a matter of preparation, persistence, and priorities. The person who wakes up with a written plan, who knows what they want from the day, from the week, from the year, that person is on a path. The person who chooses to live with vision, even if it's not perfect, is already ahead of the person who waits for life to happen. The great tragedy is not failing. The great tragedy is never designing anything worth failing for. Because failure is part of progress, but regret comes from doing nothing at all. The future you want is available, but not without a strategy. Dreaming is good, but dreaming without planning becomes frustration. Vision without structure becomes chaos. Ideas without action become wasted potential. So, the future requires more than hope. It requires action rooted in purpose. It requires discipline fueled by clarity. It requires the courage to choose your direction even when others don't see it yet. Because the truth is, most people don't plan their future. They plan their vacations. They plan their weekends, but they don't plan their lives. And that's why they end up with results they didn't intend. The good news is you don't have to get it all perfect to start planning. You just have to decide you're no longer going to live by default. You start where you are. You ask yourself the important questions. Who do I want to become? What do I want to contribute? What habits are holding me back? What actions move me forward? Then you start aligning your daily actions to your answers. Small actions repeated with purpose become the design for a remarkable life. Planning your future is not about knowing every detail. It's about choosing a direction and moving with purpose. You can't control everything that happens in life, but you can control your response. You can control your preparation. You can control how you use your time, who you listen to, what you focus on. That's where your power lies, in your ability to choose. And with every choice, you're either building your future or delaying it. Every day is a vote for the kind of life you're creating. When you approach your day with a plan, with intention, with vision, the world starts to respond differently. Opportunities find you. People respect your clarity. Momentum builds, and you realize the future is not a mystery. It's a plan you make every day, one choice at a time. Choices create the life you experience. This truth sits quietly behind every success story and every missed opportunity. Life doesn't just happen to you. It responds to your decisions, your reactions, and the values you live by. At every moment, you are shaping your future through the choices you make today. Whether those choices are small daily habits or major life decisions, they accumulate and carve the path you walk on. People often look at their lives and wonder how they arrived at a certain point, not realizing it was not a single event, but a series of choices that built the present moment. It's easy to believe that circumstances define your life. It's easy to point to the economy, to where you were born, to who your parents were, to what opportunities you were or weren't given. But while circumstances can influence your journey, they do not determine your destination. Your choices do. Two people can come from the same background and live entirely different lives simply because they made different decisions. One decided to read instead of scroll. One decided to rise early instead of sleep in. One chose to take responsibility while the other chose to make excuses. Over time, these seemingly small choices produce massive differences. Every day, you are handed a set of options. What you eat, what you think about, how you treat others, how you spend your time, who you associate with, how you speak to yourself, what you tolerate, what you pursue. Each of these is a decision. Some choices seem insignificant in the moment, but grow into defining characteristics of your life. A choice to save money instead of spend impulsively turns into financial stability. A choice to have a conversation instead of holding a grudge turns into emotional peace. A choice to go for a walk instead of staying sedentary turns into health. And the opposite is true as well. The wrong choices made over time don't just create discomfort, they create regret. You don't rise to the level of your dreams, you fall to the level of your habits. And habits are simply choices repeated often enough that they become automatic. Your current habits are producing your current results. And if you want different results, you don't need a miracle. You need new choices. You need to look at where your time goes, what voices you're listening to, what you're feeding your mind and your body, and ask, are these choices leading me to the life I want? If not, then the solution isn't to complain or wish things were different. The solution is to start choosing differently. There's power in understanding that your life is shaped by choice. It means you are not a victim of randomness. You are not powerless. You are not locked into a future you don't want. At any moment, you can begin making better choices, and those better choices will create a better life. You don't need to wait for permission. You don't need the perfect plan. You just need to decide that how you live today matters. Because it does. Today's decisions are tomorrow's reality. The life you're living is the result of past decisions, and the life you want is built by the decisions you start making now. Sometimes people delay making powerful choices because they're waiting for motivation. But motivation comes after action, not before. The moment you start choosing differently, choosing growth, discipline, excellence, you begin to feel momentum. You begin to feel stronger, more in control. And that feeling reinforces your ability to continue choosing wisely. It becomes a cycle of upward improvement. Your mindset changes, your surroundings shift. People treat you differently because you've raised your standards. And all of it starts with a single choice. Some of the most critical choices you'll ever make are internal. Choosing to forgive instead of staying bitter. Choosing to believe in your worth instead of giving in to insecurity. Choosing to take the first step, even when you're afraid. Choosing to lead when it would be easier to follow. These choices shape not only what you do, but who you become. And who you become determines what kind of life you create. It's not about being perfect. It's about being intentional. It's about understanding that you are always in a position to steer the direction of your life. The road to your future is paved with the choices you make when no one is watching. It's paved in the disciplines you stick to when it would be easier to quit. It's paved in the words you speak to yourself when you're alone with your thoughts. Your character, your confidence, your capacity, All of it is shaped by choice. And the beauty of this truth is that it doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter where you started. It doesn't matter what you've been through. If you're willing to take ownership of your choices, you can design a life that reflects your highest values and your greatest potential. Too many people wait for life to change before they change their choices. But the truth is, life doesn't change until you do. You must choose growth before it's comfortable. You must choose sacrifice before there's reward. You must choose persistence before you see progress. And when you do, you discover that the life you wanted was never out of reach. It was always within the range of your decisions. It just required you to act, to commit, to believe that your choices matter. Every moment of your life offers a chance to choose differently, to rise, to learn, to improve, to become more aligned with the life you were meant to live. The quality of your life will never rise above the quality of your decisions. If you want to experience more peace, choose forgiveness. If you want more strength, choose consistency. If you want success, choose discipline. If you want love, choose to be loving. There's no mystery. There's no secret. There's just choice, followed by action, followed by transformation. So the next time you wonder why life feels the way it does, ask yourself, what choices brought me here, and what choices will carry me forward? Because the life you experience tomorrow is being shaped by the decisions you make today. It always has been. It always will be.